Hey everyone, welcome back to our sawmill. Today we're going to be sawing some red oak logs. It's a little bit cold out today. It's the first decently warm day where we can actually start sawing and not freeze our butts off. I think it's 3 degrees out right now, which isn't too bad. The wind chill brings it down a little bit, so we're probably still in the negatives, but we got to get some logs sawed because we got orders that need to be done and they need to go out the door. So um, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Otherwise, follow me along and me sawing up these red oak logs. These are gonna all be 5/4. So come with me and we'll see what we can yield. So like I said, these are 8-foot red oak logs. They are between 12 to 19 inches in diameter. These logs are going to be sawed into 5/4 red oak 1x, 1x6s, 1x8s. So a log of this size, this log is 12 inches in diameter. It will typically only yield 2 to 3 clear boards or semi-clear boards with 1, maybe 2 small limbs. So the order I'm working on, it's about 500 board feet of number ones of 5/4, 1x6s, 1x8s. So like a log of this size, it takes, close to 40 logs just to get the order done. But the next few logs on the deck, they all are mostly clear, so they're actually yielding a little bit more than I was guessing they were going to yield for clear boards. This is actually the first time I've sawn 5/4. I typically don't even saw 5/4 because I can get my 1.1/8 scale to plane out at 3/4 every time, but it's not very often that I get an order where they actually want it to finish at 1 inch. So I'm actually going to saw a lot of extra and then I'll just stock it up and have it available so I don't have to go recut an order like this again. I don't typically like sawing 5/4 because it takes close to almost a week and a half longer to dry, and with it being red oak, I have a Nile kiln that already takes 3 to 4 weeks after I air dry it. So the 5/4 is almost going to be 5 weeks, 6 weeks to dry it, depending on what temperature and what moisture it's already starting at. Typically with it being a green log, they start at well above 30%. So, and these are going to be going into the kiln right off the mill. So once I'm done sawing and then I unload the current load in the kiln, these will be the next logs to go in. So right here I'm sawing off the jacket lumber. The bark comes off, and then underneath is a nice clear 1x6 after I edge it. Most of these logs I'm going to try to get 1x8s out of. If I can get 1x10s out of these logs, I would love to, but I don't think I'm going to be able to yield 1x10s out of most of them. I think I can get 2 or 3 logs to get 1x10s out of that are clear, but those aren't on the log deck yet. So I'm taking them off the side and stickering them right away, because they're going to go into the kiln right away. So like I said earlier, these logs typically only yield 2 to 3 good boards. So like that board I just took off, that one has center grain in it, and it's not going to be good for the order I'm working on. And then the rest of this log, if you look at the side of it very closely, there is a bunch of knots on this side of the log. All these boards that I'm cutting now, none of these will work for the order. So if I was sawing a log like this for this order all day, it would take a long time to complete this order because I would have to saw 40 logs just to get this order. But the next 4 or 5 logs on the deck, most of them are completely free of knots in the jacket lumber. And with this order wanting clear, most of the lumber is going to come from the jacket lumber, and that's all the boards that I edge after sawing the logs. So I'm just going to let you guys watch what I'm doing for the next minute or so, and then I will tell you what I'm doing on the next log. So here we have a 16-inch red oak, and it's got a little bit of a tape around the butt. As you can see, there's no bark on this one. These trees were actually cut down because there was oak wilt starting in them. So this is one of the trees that has oak wilt in it currently, and then the rest of them already died. They just died, but the wood itself hadn't completely shut down. So the leaves are still on the trees, and the bark was still had moisture in it. But this tree here, this one was completely dead already. So with it having oak wilt, there is a little bit of a different color in the boards, but it's not something too crazy. So like if I am loading up an order from a customer and I see that these boards are mixed in and the color is a little bit different, I will sort them out. It's because it's not going to match what the customer's picking up. So I don't always leave it in, but once it's dried, you can usually tell. If it's close to the same color, it's not a big deal. And this tree was still standing, so it's not an issue for having shatter cracks in it and all the spider cracks that typically happen in the bottom of a red oak. So these boards that are coming off this log, almost all the ones I've cut off so far are clear. So this log is going to yield probably 6 to 7 boards that are going to work for this order, which is going to help me get this order done a lot faster. So on the side of the log here, you can see there's not any really knots on this one. This log has a slight taper in it, which is going to happen typically in any log. So we're just going to be cutting 1x8s out of this one, and try to yield as much as we can. With the 5/4 scale, since I've never cut it before, I'm actually I mess up a little bit on my first cut sometimes because I'm trying to yield as much as possible, and I forget that the 5/4 scale just doesn't quite yield as much as the 1-inch scale. So right there, I made a second cut just so I could get a nicer board underneath it and a wider one. But it's not a big deal. It's just a wasted cut. I should have accounted for it, and I wouldn't have had to recut. But it's best just to try to yield as much as possible. So even if I got to recut the log twice, it doesn't matter. I'm just trying to get as much lumber as possible out of these things. They grew for 50 to 60 years. It's best to yield as much as possible. So I'm just going to let you guys watch again, and then I'll tag in on the next log. So this next log here that's coming up on the sawmill, I want to point out that the end of this log has a crack already. So when you're sawing it, you want to start with the crack straight up and down, because I'm cutting one side and then flipping it 180 degrees and then cutting the other side. If you start with the crack like that straight up and down, you're gonna typically yield more stable boards, because if you cut it the other way, you're gonna have a crack in every single board that you cut down the cant, whereas this one you're just gonna have the cracks partially in the jacket lumber, and then when you go flip it to cut straight down the cant, then that crack's gonna line up in the middle of one board, if not two, and you're gonna have a lot more stable boards and a lot better end product. I just wanted to point that out because you can ruin a lot of boards really fast if you don't account for those cracks before you even start cutting. Those cracks already are opening up because they're trying to tell you this tree's already trying to move even when it's been cut. So once it's slabbed into boards, it's a lot more likely to open up even further. So you just want to watch it, and once you cut enough trees and enough logs, you'll notice it, and you can save a lot more lumber.